I filled more sketchbook pages this past month than I have in ages, and the weird part is I wasn't even trying to make good drawings. For quite a long time now I felt really stuck with my sketchbooks, but something's shifted recently and it's changed the way I draw entirely. Now I'm always conscious of my language, especially here on YouTube and the whole extremism of titles and things changing your life and changing everything, but, and this comes very sincerely from me, this has changed my art. This has definitely changed the way I create and yeah, it's changed everything. So if you're new here, hello, my name is Katie, I'm a full-time sketchbook artist. I create using mixed media and I share weekly videos here on YouTube, sharing my process, the way I use supplies, the way you can use them as well, and lots of ideas and encouragement along the way. Because I am a full-time artist, I do make time to create. I host drawing sessions on my Patreon, I film tutorials, I try to create often. And it still never feels like it's enough. It's that comparison trap of social media where I see other artists filling sketchbooks endlessly, pages after pages and no trouble in the world. Obviously it is a highlight reel, but I jump around in my sketchbooks, you'll know that from my other videos, and I really try to focus on play and joy. It's the main reason I share my work, because I do think that art should be fun, not rigid. Definitely no rules or that you have to do it this way or it's wrong. But I still stumble sometimes with not feeling very connected to what I create. For a lot of my travel sketchbooks, I start them and I have very high hopes that I'll fill every page during my trips. If you've seen my sketchbook tours or previous videos too, I have many on the go at one time and sometimes I just don't feel inspired. And I do want to say here that that is normal. We don't have to feel inspired all the time, I don't think that we can be. But a lot of the time, as artists, we can get stuck on waiting. Waiting for a good idea or spending hours trying to find the perfect reference. I used to trawl Pinterest for hours before I found something that I wanted to paint, or I'd wait for a big chunk of time in my schedule before I could actually sit down and paint. I thought that I needed that to create before I made time for art. And most of the time, that just meant I didn't draw at all. And when I did sit down to draw or paint, it felt like every page had to be worth it. I get a lot of comments about this, so I know I'm not alone here. We all want to create nice art, because we finally have some time spare and we want to make it count. It's normal as artists to feel like we want to do our best. It's normal as humans really, but especially if we have limited time or want to make the most out of our expensive art supplies. I also sat down to my sketchbooks with extra pressure that my pages had to be something I'd want to share online. I think I was treating my sketchbook more like a portfolio instead of a place to just explore and experiment, and that pressure just made the whole thing feel a lot heavier than it needed to be. Especially as a full-time artist. Especially as someone who makes their money sharing their art here online. And it's true that art is, and always has been, my escape. It switches off my brain like nothing else. I've created some pages I'm really proud of, and obviously pages that I'm not, but it all feeds into creativity. It's all part of the process. But I've also been missing the connection. I've not felt that inspired to create. And what changed was actually really simple. I stopped waiting for references and the perfect photo or the perfect time, and I just started drawing what was in front of me. Nothing special, just everyday things. An orange that I'm eating for lunch. The tulips popping up in my garden, where I was sitting, what I was eating, things around me, just drawing from observation and putting it on the page. I'm pushing myself to drawing cafes, drawing Mitch opposite me, drawing the plates in front of us, drawing the tree at the end of my road, or drawing the wildlife I might spot on a walk. I'm taking a new little sketchbook with me in my bag wherever I go. And these drawings aren't polished. A lot of them are quick, messy, sometimes unfinished. But I think that's exactly why I'm able to do more of them. I wasn't trying to make something impressive, I was just trying to notice things a bit more closely. And once that pressure was gone, it became a lot easier to just open my sketchbook and start. So a lot of this really clicked with a recent theme I did on my Patreon with my community there, of pages from life. And it definitely helped me and really cemented how powerful this is when I went to Japan. I didn't have loads of time to sit and plan drawings, so I just worked with whatever was in front of me. Some of the pages are still empty or rough and ready. They're definitely not curated like my travel sketchbooks have been in the past, or how I've wanted them to be. in my head of when I come back it's going to be completely finished, it's going to be really high quality and what I think they should look like. But in this new one there are things like quick room plans, collage from packaging, and moments I wouldn't have thought were important enough to draw. There are still highlights from my days, but I'm not trying to capture everything, just the things that are in the moment and with so much less pressure. And the thing is, I can remember exactly where I was when I made them. And this made the sketchbook feel a lot more meaningful than when I was trying to make everything look pretty or well presented. The pressure was so much lower, so I wasn't scared to create in it. And the small size really helped too, but it felt exciting to open, and I felt the most inspired I felt in a really, really long time. This is the most I filled a travel sketchbook since I've started doing them. The first time I went to Japan, I did 2 pages when I was home, and that was that. I've got some journals from New York and also my honeymoon, which still aren't finished, but this one feels like it's possible. I still have empty pages that I'm really enjoying filling now I'm home, but without that pressure that it needs to be presentable. I can easily fill a spread with my memories without having to set aside a couple of hours. I can just do it 10 minutes here or there, and it will still have just as much meaning. When I got back, I didn't want to lose that, so I started doing the same thing at home. Drawing small, everyday moments, things I normally wouldn't think twice about. It's also Plain April at the moment, which, although is a challenge encouraging you to draw from life, is also a daily drawing challenge. So I'm turning this into a personal challenge of mine of drawing every day, but from life. Keeping up my drawing from observation, as well as getting out in nature when I can, which basically just means when the weather allows it. And so far so good, I've kept it up every single day. The weather's not been great this past week, so I've just been doing lots of observational studies, the bouquet of flowers Mitch bought me for Easter, the tulips I picked up half price that are on my kitchen windowsill, the orange I mentioned that I had for a snack. Even my car breakdown went in this little sketchbook. And these pages I've created this month, without needing to share or find the right thing to draw, without the knowledge that this has to perform for the algorithm, but creating from me, have ended up being some of my favourite pages, one of my favourite sketchbooks. Not because they're better drawings, but because they feel more connected to real life. I have a connection in my sketchbook again. It reflects where I am, what I'm doing, how I'm feeling right now, and I think it's going to be so fun to look back through in a few years. It also counts as therapy for right now. It's so lovely to feel inspired to come to this sketchbook and just draw what I'm seeing. It really takes the pressure off. And I was definitely missing that connection in my sketchbooks before. Although I had that joy and that tranquility when I'm creating, it just wasn't connected to me. And I'm not going to stop painting from references and diving into imagined worlds and creating in the way I was before, but I'm going to do it alongside this new practice. Pages filled with pretty art, but also my joy of drawing my life, drawing out and about and really pushing myself massively to draw from life. It's very out of my comfort zone to draw in urban spaces or in cafes and restaurants, and I really want to push myself to try that. I think drawing from life just changes the way you approach things. You're not copying something that already exists as an image, you're interpreting what you're seeing in that moment. And it really makes you look. You kind of have to slow down a bit and pay attention in a different way. And I think that naturally builds a stronger connection between you and what you're putting in your sketchbook, let alone the fact that it is a lived-in experience. My sketchbook practice feels completely different now. It feels more personal, less like something I need to get right. It's more like a record of where I've been or what I've noticed, and it's made me actually want to come back to it, instead of avoiding it or feeling that pressure of creating. I feel more inspired to fill my sketchbook with both sides, really, and that is all thanks to easing the pressure. I've talked many times before and in quite a lot of videos here on my channel about removing pressure to create. It's an ongoing battle, and I'm definitely an artist who wants to create from joy. I want to encourage more art, and I found ways along my creative journey and throughout the years of creating and it becoming my job to make it sustainable. But this definitely feels like a big shift. It's really clicked with me in this season of life, and so I wanted to share it with you. I know it's really easy and sounds simple, but give it a try. We are the only thing in our way of creating, and usually it's those rules and the expectations of what we'll create in our own heads that stop us from picking up a pencil. So if you've been feeling stuck with your sketchbook, finding it too hard to stay consistent, or are missing that connection, I'd really recommend trying this. For a few days or even a week, just draw what's directly in front of you. No searching for references, no waiting for the right idea and the perfect time. Just start with what's there. It doesn't have to be good, it just has to be real. And that's honestly what's helped me start filling my sketchbooks again. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to chat with you about this in the comments, and I hope you have a creative week ahead. I will see you all next week in my new YouTube video. See you later.